Do you sometimes pause for a moment 5 seconds after blowing a kiss goodbye to your date and then suddenly you have this rush of guilt and doubt? Well, you might be leading them on, but are you? How can you even tell? Guilt alone is not gonna cut it. For all you know, that feeling of guilt could be something completely different. But perhaps you suspect you are, but you're not clear on what it means, where the line is drawn between that and the more innocent behavior. But look, at some point or another, most of us will have led somebody in love, whether it was intentional or not. It's something that is very easy to do. The problem is that it can cause massive problems. So what does it even mean to lead somebody on? What does that mean? Well, to put it simply, it's not that far from love bombing. You remember those love vampires that we talked about, don't you? Well, you don't? Come on, where have you been? Are you new here? Or perhaps you just forgot to click on the bell button, haven't you? See, this is why we keep reminding you guys to press that bell so that you get notifications of all of our content. But I got your back. Just click on the link up here and watch it. Now let's get back to the topic. Simply put, to lead somebody on means to make that person believe that your intentions or feelings are different from what they actually are. In the context of dating and relationship, it means to make somebody believe that you are romantically interested in them, when you're actually fully aware that you're not. In reality, all you care about is the attention and sex, nothing more. You just don't want to tell him, do you? You'd be stupid to, am I right? Alright, enough of the sarcasm and snarky comments. This is serious. For the person who is led on, it can be extremely hurtful and mess with their emotions and their self-esteem. It's not something to toy with, but even from your point of view, leading someone on can make your life way more complicated than it has to be. And if you have any compassion and are not a complete asshole or an emotional zombie, you could be left with guilty conscience about the pain that you have caused. Now, you may have actually been accused of leading somebody on in the past, though that truly wasn't your intention. You were just high on the friends with benefits types of movies and the hype of open relationships and assumed this could be you, reaping all the benefits of a relationship without the drawbacks of an actual relationship. Maybe you were interested in getting to know the person, but the circumstances or the feelings have changed. Sometimes that's just unavoidable. And of course, you can't dictate whether the other person believes your intentions were initially good or not. But to make your life easier, in this episode we'll look at 3 signs that you may be leading somebody on, whether it was by intention or not. So let's have a look. First and foremost, you say what you think they want to hear, not what is actually on your mind. You're a people pleaser, right? You know how to say all the right things. You're good with words and could charm the hind legs of a donkey if you had to. But that doesn't mean you always actually mean the things that you say. You just tell them what they want to hear, what they need to hear, just because it gets you what you want. And man, sometimes it's just easier than being honest, isn't it? Especially when it comes to romantic relationships. So essentially your words and your feelings are matching up when it comes to this relationship. And when it comes to your conscience, you tell yourself, those are just white lies. But you want to know a secret? Those white lies are quite literally helping you dig a hole for yourself. A pretty big one at that. One that is very hard to get out of. But hey, I get it. You're just more interested in their body than their mind. There's nothing wrong with it. You feel a genuine attraction to them. You're just a very visual person, right? An artistic type. Physical form over anything else. And don't even get me started on that sex you share. It's incredible. When you're together, you're just a hot mess, steaming up every room. That is, if you can even find a room. Head? What's in their head? Who cares? You're not with them for that. You're attracted to them sexually, just not what's going on inside of their head. Who cares? Simply put, every time you see them, it always leads to sex, and when you do try to have a conversation with them, it just doesn't flow. That is if all their assets are just physical, not your fault, I know. Another case, however, could be a completely selfish one. You might even have something to say, you just don't really care about their opinion on things, and you don't feel the need to tell them when there is something exciting happening in your life either. But they still do all of those things. They want to tell you about their day and ring you when they have good news. They try to engage with you in a deeper conversation, but you quickly skip that boring meal and jump straight into dessert. So the bottom line is that unless both of you made it clear that what's between you is purely physical, you could well be leading them on. My last point is related, but very slightly different. Put everything I just mentioned into one big cauldron, stir it well. And for good measure, shove in some of those good intentions you initially had for this person. What you get is one hell of a difficult situation. Everything is awesome, but something just doesn't feel right. You have no idea and you choose to ignore that niggly feeling in the back of your mind. You just go with the flow, ignore the warning signs. Then you are later surprised when you find yourself in a tricky situation. Remember, leading somebody on doesn't make you a bad person. We all do it at one point or another. But to save both of you the bad feelings, try to be honest with yourself from day one, and with them too. If your gut is telling you something isn't quite right, but you don't listen to it, you only have yourself to blame when things go wrong. So let me quickly sum up certain types of behavior that could mean that you're actually leading them on. You hang out with them a lot and you spend half a day giggling with the phone in your hand at every text you send and receive every single day. You cuddle and hug them, and not just after sex. You flirt with them beyond what could be construed as get in bed type of flirting. You make love rather than just raw fuck. You act like you're ready for a relationship, but then you find reasons to set things back a few steps. You go on dates, you dine together, and do different activities together, but you also date multiple other people at the same time. And lastly, and this is the one that personally pisses me off most, you reply to their texts, agree to make plans together without ever actually following through. But look, this would not be a conscious rethink video if we didn't actually offer you some solutions or advice. So what can you actually do to make sure that you're not leading somebody on? First, be clear about your intentions from day one. Some people are shy about letting potential new love interest know what they're looking for. They think it could potentially turn their love interest off, or it could make them look like they are coming on too strong. But letting the other person know exactly what they're getting into from the word go is actually a sign of respect, not just that. You may miss out on some potential partners, but if you miss out on them on these grounds, then that is actually a good thing. Remember, you're sparing yourself and them a whole bag of issues later down the line. And when you find the right person, they'll be like, sure, why not? I want exactly what you want and nothing more. So don't be shy. Get the big topics out of the way on a first date. Just remember, even this approach doesn't spare you the potential for development of deeper feelings. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about. My wife and I started our relationship as fun and sexy fling with a perfect mutual understanding. There was, however, one point when I said, look, if we continue sleeping together, spending all this time together, having fun, eventually you're gonna fall in love with me, I'm gonna fall in love with you. And look at us now. We've been married, happily married for 14 years. Number 2, don't say things you don't mean. Remember, honesty is the best policy. Don't tell them the things they want to hear just to keep them happy. Don't pretend you're feeling things when you aren't. If you don't genuinely mean it, don't say it. It's far better to disappoint or upset someone now than later down the line when they're gonna be head over heels falling in love with you. So try to think before you speak. The same goes for texting and flirting. You don't want to risk that they will start interpreting things differently than you actually mean them. And lastly, mind your pace. Love is a marathon and fling is a sprint. If you're worried about leading somebody on and you're clear with them about what you want and sex is all you care about, don't take things slowly. However, if you have no idea how you actually feel, be conscious about taking things slowly. Don't dive head first into something only to realize that it's not the right thing. You only have to do some serious backpedaling later on, which can cause a lot of heartache. So mind your pace of things. And I mean the pace of everything. If you want sex, make it all about sex and no snuggles and cuddles. If you want to spend time with them, but nothing deeper, Sure, go out and dine with them, but don't get into deeper topics. And always remember, stay in control of topics and conversations and your own behavior. No false signals. Nothing that will indicate deeper than surface level physical attraction. Unless that is what you want. Just make sure you know what both of you want, and it won't end up hurting either one of you. Other than that, all I can do is wish you good luck. And if by any chance you have hurt somebody or are currently leading somebody on and you see it snowballing into something much bigger down the line and you don't know what to do, open up the description below, click on a link for our counseling service. The same goes for those who have recently been led on and are hurt and unable to reconcile the experience. Rather than suffering and missing out on the opportunities to meet the right person just because of some past hurt, click on the link below, connect, and let's offload some of that baggage. We are here for you. Just reach out and we can help you. And until next time, bye.